glad you could join us this morning. My name is Brownie Wood. I'm the minister to youth here at St. James United Methodist Church. We're really glad that you're here, and we wanted to just welcome everybody. If you don't mind, before Melanie comes forward, I'm going to just say a word of prayer for us this morning, okay? Dear Lord, we thank you for this whole organization and what it represents. We thank you that Rock is trying to make an impact in the lives of students, in the lives of the parents, in the lives of the community, and the surrounding area with the awareness of how we treat one another. And Jesus, if you ever said anything, you said the way we care about one another. It says, by this will all men know that you're my disciples if you have love one for another. So I pray that we would learn to love one another and not hurt one another. And so, Lord, thank you for what we're doing here today. Just ask for a blessing on it completely. In Jesus' name, amen.
We can make this work. Can you hear me? Yep. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so excited to be here today. This day has actually been a long time in coming. I went to work with an agency in Montgomery called the Family Sunshine Center about 10 years ago. And at that time, I had seen the headlines about domestic violence. I had seen the horrific accounts of it on television, but I had not learned about the dynamics of it. What made a person a domestic violence perpetrator and what made a person a victim. And after I began to learn about that, I thought, well, gosh, these perpetrators are nothing but grown-up bullies. And at that time, we had a wonderful prevention program that went out into the schools and taught violence prevention, but we didn't concentrate on bullying prevention in particular. And I really wanted us to be involved in that. 10 years ago, bullying was just beginning to become the problem that we know it to be today. So we like to think we were trying to get out in front of it. So we finally located some funding to do some bullying prevention programs in the schools and the community. And that was great. I mean, we were doing nationally endorsed curricula in multiple sessions, and the kids were getting it. When our prevention educators would go back into the schools, one year the kids that saw them last year remembered them. So it was taking. But what was missing was some kind of public awareness piece. And, you know, I thought about it. As a nonprofit, you don't have an advertising budget. So there was not the money really to put that together. But being on the Public Relations Council with Laura Hicks and others from then LWT Communications, I knew about Create-a-thon, which is a wonderful opportunity for somebody with magic skills in the area of advertising and public relations to do some of that kind of creative work pro bono. So I applied, and along the way, I asked Montgomery Public Schools, would you like to come on board? And Dr. Letha Maxton said, yes, we want to be a partner. So we got together with David Allred and Laura Hicks and others at LWT, and we did a Create-a-thon application. And I probably called Laura a couple of times saying, when are we going to hear? When are we going to hear? And finally, we got an email or a call, I don't remember, that said, you know, you all were a recipient of Create-a-thon, so we need to get together and talk about what this campaign is going to look like. We did just that. We came together, Montgomery Public Schools, Family Sunshine Center, and then LWT, now STAMP Idea Group, and talked about, we want our campaign to be positive. We want our campaign to not be about what we don't want kids to do. We want our campaign to be what we do want kids to do. And they came up with this incredible idea and creative called ROCK. Respect others, create kindness, very simple, the golden rule. And we got it out into the schools, and we would go in and do an assembly before we went in and did our reinforcement with our prevention education. And that was a couple of years ago, and we made a great flash in the pan, but since then it's sort of settled down to ho-hum. Nobody really is thinking rock. And Laura and I talked a little bit about how can we give new life to this. And we talked about a task force. And you know, Laura was very excited, and I was a little bit more want anybody to think that we're the panacea for bullying, that we can solve all the problems, because you know, as professionals in this community, as professionals in the school system, it's a tough problem. It's a tough problem knowing what to do with the bullying perpetrator. It's a tough job to know what to do with the victim. So what we decided is this is a public awareness campaign. We don't have all the answers, but we certainly want to hear the questions and certainly want to hear the concerns. And in thinking about this, it's real funny how things work in your life. After Laura put it out, now can we do this? Are we going to do this? And I said, let me think about it a minute, Laura. And I was in my car going home that afternoon, and I heard one of my favorite songs on the radio. It's called From a Distance. It was Bette Midler's adaptation of that song. And the lyric just struck me at that moment. It says, from a distance, you look like my friend, even though we are at war. From a distance, I just cannot comprehend what all this fighting is for. From a distance, there's harmony, and it echoes through the land. And it's the hope of hopes, and it's the love of loves. It's the heart of every man. God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. And you know, it just struck me at that moment, as Laura had said, we can't not do something. We can't not do something. And I will tell you, I was so touched by that. And I thought, you know, who's watching when that child goes in their bedroom and hangs himself from their own belt? Who's watching that precious child as they climb up to the top of the water tower? In their fear, in their loneliness, in their terror, and they jump to their dad? Who's watching when somebody in our school system maybe goes into the restroom and beats upon another person, and they are so fearful to tell because it may get worse? Who's watching? Well, it's up to each of us to be watching. And I know that each of you is here today because you are agreeing to be watchful for these kids. You've already done some things. You've signed up to do more. I would invite you, before you leave, there's a partnership survey that you can take and sign up to do something for this ROC Task Force. And we would sincerely appreciate whatever skills, talents, ability, resources you can bring. And before I step aside and we bring along the next speaker, I would just like to introduce the steering committee. And we stepped up and said, we'll be watchful. And that's Laura Hicks with LWT Communications and currently STAMP Idea Group. I'm going to get there in a minute. And she has her boss with her, David Allred. Dr. Letha Maxton with Montgomery Public Schools. Mona Davis, who's behind the camera back there, with Montgomery Public Schools. Lisa Johnson with the Family Sunshine Center. And John Weibel with the Gateway Baptist Church. And we are just here to usher in your talents and what you can bring to the ROC campaign. So we appreciate your being here. I'd also like to introduce the Family Sunshine Center prevention staff. Jennifer Hartley is Director of Outreach and Prevention. Katie Jones and Tamika Holliday are actually out in the schools doing bullying prevention with the children. So we welcome them here today. And so let me, at this time, introduce David, who will talk a little bit more about the creative aspect of the ROC campaign. And David is a partner with the STAMP Idea Group.
Thank you, Melanie. If any of you attend a lot of events where the mayor speaks, he never leaves much for anybody else to say. So put me in that position. For the past 11 years, LWT, as Melanie mentioned, has participated in Create-a-thon, which is a billed as a round-the-clock event for nonprofits where we basically provide services, creative services, that they wouldn't be able to afford on their own. They would have a hard time putting in their budget. And in 2011, the Family Sunshine Center in Montgomery Public Schools applied, as Melanie said, which is very interesting because we don't have a lot of joint applications, but they did apply together, which we found very interesting. And as with many Create-a-thon projects, somebody in the agency sort of took a hold of that project that touched their heart and really got behind it. And of the 30 people that were applying that year, about the 8 that got selected, this task force, this group, this affiliation was one of them. And we took that campaign and developed ROCK, as Melanie said, as one of our projects. And I am basically very fortunate, lucky, and proud to be able to introduce Laura Hicks, who is here with us today. She took this on within the agency, became an advocate for it. She's going to tell you a little bit more about ROCK. But one of the things she and I talked about early on was how this has legs in our industry. We talk about things being able to continue on. And we talked a little bit about this with Melanie as well, to say other schools could use this, other communities, the region, nationally. I mean, it's been developed. It's not necessarily just for our area. And then we had written this little pledge that Laura may talk a little bit about, but she attended a big meeting where this got rolled out, and I guess the kids had this memorized or sang it. She may tell you that story, but it's been a lot of fun to create for nonprofits. And now we have merged with another marketing firm here in Montgomery and are going to continue to do Create-a-thon. So if you know there are other nonprofits who would be interested, we've done about 95 nonprofits, about 180 projects in the last 11 years. And this is just one example. So I'll turn it over to Laura. She can talk a little bit about it, fill in any blanks that are left. Thanks, Melanie.
Thank you, Melanie and David. 2 years ago, when we did the Create-a-thon project and we met as a team, we knew that we wanted the campaign to be very positive, very friendly, something that the kids who are here today can latch on to and will be very catchy. And as David said, we did come up with this little rhyme. I think with our around-the-clock Create-a-thon, the rhyme happened about 2 a.m. or something like that. And they'll share it with you here in a moment, but it does say being a bully is totally uncool, not on the bus and not at school. And so at that time, Melanie and I talked, and we said, you know, it'd be great if we had a task force to continue to talk about these issues. As time went on, we said, you know, it'd be great if we had that task force. And then at the beginning of the year, we talked about it. We said, are we going to do this task force? And as Melanie already shared with you, we both were looking at each other and said, how do we have time to do this? And then we looked at each other and said, how do we have time not to do this? How do any of us have time not to do this? Because our children are important. They're so important. You guys are so important to us. You are the future of our communities, and you are so important to us. So through the research, we know that the activity of bullying and being a perpetrator, as Melanie shared, later in life starts very young, as early as kindergarten on the playground. So that's why it's important to invest in our schools and our children. And we have goals that we've talked about as a group. We've met for several months to form this task force. And what we've talked about is our main goal is to prevent bullying in any form, in person, physically, verbally, electronically, digitally. You know, there are barriers now that children can hide behind with technology, social media, and digital media. And we're going to tear those barriers down, and we're going to make a difference. But our main goal is to prevent bullying, and we have 4 other areas that we're concentrating on. Awareness, what is bullying? We're going to identify that, what are the causes of bullying, and what can be done to prevent bullying. As Melanie said, this is an awareness campaign for students, for teachers, for parents, for the media, for churches, every organization, to be aware of the issues so that we can create a kinder river region and community. The next area that we want to focus on is education, really looking at the extent of bullying, the effects of bullying, and really how can students report bullying, or teachers, or parents, how can they report safely and in a manner that will do good. So we want to look at those and really educate the public about that. And then we want to look at programs. We don't yet know what they will be. As the River Region Rock Task Force, we're newly formed and we're talking about these issues, but we want to look at what is already being done so that we can be the facilitator for what our groups and organizations that are on the task force are already doing, and how we can enhance that. What can we do? How can we work together? And then partnerships, and that's our other area. This is a community issue. It's a broad issue. It affects all of us in some form of fashion, whether you are currently a student, whether you know a student, a teacher, someone who has children, or you were a student at one time. We all are affected in some way with this in the community. So we want to look at our partners. What are you doing, and what can we do to enhance that? We want to thank St. James United Methodist Church for hosting us today, and Park Crossing High School, who hosted our community roundtable. We can't say thank you enough. And with that, I'm going to let John Weigel come up.
Good morning. I'm John Weigel from Gateway Baptist Church, and I'm here to speak on behalf of faith groups, churches, parachurch organizations, synagogues, temples, mosques, and every group that worships in some way. These groups can have a tremendous impact on the prevention and identifying of bullying. First, I want to give you a few numbers, and for those in the press, I have this here, and I'll be glad to share this with you. While Alabama's numbers are a little bit lower than this, the National Center for Education Statistics reported that 28% of children between ages 12 and 18 report that they have been bullied. 28%. An even more shocking statistic is that 9 out of 10 elementary age children report having been bullied. 9 out of 10 report having been bullied. And that was 5 years ago. You can imagine the figures today. I myself remember an instance of bullying that happened to me that actually adversely affected my life for a long time, until it created a problem that it took me a long time to get rid of. So I'm a victim of bullying. So I know about bullying. Some statistics are interesting, and one that is really important is that faith groups have an estimated touch of about 32,000 children in the Montgomery area. About 32,000 children have some contact with faith groups. 32,000 children. Numbers are a good thing, but then again, this is not about numbers. It's not about groups of people. It's not about children that are all wearing yellow shirts and green shirts. It's about little Johnny and little Samantha and little Tabitha. It's about individual children that have been a victim of bullying. Jesus said, "Suffer the little children to come unto me, and hinder them not, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." Woe to anyone that harms one of these little children. Woe to such a person. So how can faith groups put that into place? Well, as I said, faith groups touch about 32,000 children in the Montgomery area. Faith groups can, through their children and youth programs, advocate against bullying if they are properly taught. Faith groups can, through those programs, advise on defenses against bullying and on mechanisms where children can report that they have been bullied. Many faith groups operate on campus or home-based schools themselves. they can, through those schools, advocate against bullying and teach bullying prevention and reporting of bullying. Some faith groups, like Gateway Baptist Church, have the honor of operating after-school tutoring programs. We do that every Wednesday. We have children from 3rd and 4th grade in Brubaker School, and they come to our church and we tutor them. And I have the great privilege and honor to be the principal of that program. The programs like that also can learn from organizations like ROC how to do these things in regard to bullying. So those types of programs can have an impact, can reach the children directly. And lastly, it's not just the children. It's the families, it's the mothers and daddies. These types of groups, faith groups, see the parents. We see the caretakers for these children. We can advocate against bullying. We can tell them bullying is going on. They may not agree that it is, but we can advocate for those principles against bullying. I would like to leave you with this one statistic. Faith groups touch 32,000 children in the Montgomery area. That's quite a statistic. But not just 32,000 masses. We touch Billy and Sarah and Tabitha and Tamika and all the other children. Let's save these children from being bullied. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Now we'd like to invite Margaret Allen, our interim superintendent for Montgomery Public Schools, up to the podium.
It knew I was coming and knew I had a teacher voice this morning, so I don't really need it.
Margaret, is it at the bottom of the microphone?
I don't know. Quite what happened. John did something. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you here today, and I cannot believe what an answer this event and this team has brought about for me as an interim superintendent. I tell you, you are thinking right along the lines of the concerns that I shared with staff as I walked into the position. My question to them was, how can we converge the culture for learning with the culture of learning? That culture of learning being the teaching and the instruction that goes on. And I know we can work to get that right. But as I said to them, we're going to need a lot of help to get that culture for learning in place. That's the piece where all that we have spoken about here this morning, specifically the bullying. I really probably don't need it, but thank you. Okay, thank you, Kyle. Okay, as I was indicating, there is truly a need, and I'm not just talking about the Montgomery Public Schools, I'm talking about in our community. As has already been stated, there's a need for us to be kinder one to another. And the minister who prayed for us this morning really described it as what it is. It's truly a matter of learning to love one another. And I look at bullying, and one thing I do know for sure is that it is prevalent. I know that it is powerful in its impact. I know that it is painful, and there are many that can attest to that. But what this steering committee has done for us is to show us that it is preventable, and it's preventable one person at a time. I am so grateful for the statistics that talked about the 32,000, because I have made the remarks to staff already. We've got about that many students just in Montgomery County. And the truth of the matter is there are almost 300,000 people in this city. One-to-one is an easy fix for that. But it would take the commitment of all of us working together. And I just want to say, I'm not going to take long, but I want to say to the committee, we already have Mona Davis and Dr. Maxton in the leadership piece of this. Thank God for them that they are a part of this. We are going to put every bit of effort that we can into helping to support what is going on with this. We want Mona and Lisa to bring the conversations to the table, because we do need the convergence. We do need it to happen. We're not just walking a one-road track. We're not just looking at the teaching and learning. We need the learning supports. And this organization realizes that. There are many other organizations that realize that we need the learning supports. And those learning supports translate into individuals who will say, yes, that one, I do it for one. And if each of us was to say that, I'll do it for one. That one could be our own children, our grandchildren. I'm a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 3. I'm a youth director at a church. And then for this interim, I'm the mama for 32,000. How neat is that? I'm really excited about being able to be in this place at this time, because I see things coming together for a good cause. And I'm very grateful to each of you. There was a young man, I was talking to the Pent Law students. Oh, you're raising your hand over there. You know what I'm getting ready to say. As I was talking with them this morning about how each one of them can take it back to Pent Law. What did you tell me? It was kind of like a what? A chain reaction, he says. So if we can get that chain reaction moving across the school district, across the community, because this is a community thing. And if we can get that going, we're going to really do well. Again, I want to thank the committee, and I want to thank everybody for being here and having the commitment that you have. Truthfully, I was thinking about Dorothy Knowles' poem, Children Learn What They Live. And they didn't just get this stuff, that bullying piece didn't just pop up there. If they live with criticism, the poem says they learn to condemn. And the poem goes on and on and on about the environment, the culture of the matter. And it needs just as much attention, again, as the other aspects, so that the convergence can work. And that you're helping to make it work. So thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Ms. Allen, thank you. And now, if we could have Denise Whittle. I've had the pleasure of meeting Denise, and I know she's done some remarkable things at Bellingrad. So if she'd come up and tell us a little bit about what she's doing.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? I bring you greetings from Bellingrad Middle School. I am honored to be here, a 2-time national award winner because of my bullying efforts at Bellingrad Middle School. My purpose is to challenge you to join me, to inspire you, to motivate you to join me to stomp out bullying. Some people may call it a hard task. It's a very easy task. We've done very fun things to create an environment, our climate, our culture, one that is conducive for teachers to teach and students to learn by doing fun things to stomp out bullying at Bellingrad Middle School. I'd like to share some of those things with you. But first, I want to tell you why I chose bullying as my platform. A few years ago, there was a town hall meeting at Frazier Church, and I sat and I listened to the speakers, and I said, I'm going to join them. And from that time until this time, I've been trying to do things at my school, at my church, in the community to stomp out bullying. I went to the task force meeting. Ms. Hicks, I believe it was, said that we all in Montgomery need to join together so we can lead the way in the state to stomp out bullying. So let me tell you some fun things that you can do at your school, in your churches, in the community, some of the things that we have done. We've had assemblies. During the assemblies, we've had PowerPoint presentations. We've had speakers to come in from in the community. We've had speakers in our school to talk to the students about bullying our teachers. Some of them who said that they were bullies, why they were bullied, and what happened for them to decide not to be bullies anymore. Teachers who talked about being bullied, how it affected them, and what they did to overcome that. We've had Scholars Bowls. We've had our FBA club to compete against our TSA club. We had a wonderful time, and guess what? This year we're reaching out to the other schools. We've invited them to come and compete with us in our anti-bullying Scholars Bowl. We're going to have that in a few weeks. We're going to let you know about it so you can come and join us. All of these different activities help our students to be more informed, more educated. We have presentations for our teachers. We have presentations for our parents. During our parent workshop, you know, sometimes parents are a little slow in coming. Sometimes they will come for food. But you know what I do? I provide entertainment for the parents. The entertainment grabs them there, and when I get there, I have the opportunity to educate them while we have fun. For example, we have the choir sing, positive behavior intervention support song. We have the cheerleaders cheer about stomping out bullying. We have our minders to mind to entertain them with Stop, Talk, and Walk, which is what we teach our students to do when it comes to bullying. We have the drama club to do skits about bullying. We show them the right way, the wrong way, the right way. I always start out with the right way. Isn't that right, Miss Shannon Smith? So we've done a lot of fun things at Bellingrad Middle School to stomp out bullying. As a matter of fact, this year we've had our anti-bullying poster contest, which we do every year. And today I have with me two of our students that won the bullying poster contest. China, will you stand? China Rao. Derek Webb, will you stand? Thank you so much. It just so happens that these students are also a part of our PBS Executive Committee Board. These are the students that help us to come together and talk about what we want for Bellingrad Middle Schools, talk about the positive things that we want, talk about the things that we're going to do to enhance our school so that teaching and learning is the most important thing at Bellingrad Middle School. They have done an awesome job. So when they heard about the anti-bullying poster contest, they got busy. So also, another thing that we're going to do at Bellingrad is have an anti-bullying expose, and we're going to display all of the beautiful posters that our students did. So what I want to leave you with, according to statistics, every 7 minutes a student is bullied. We want to stomp that out. 1 out of 5 students admit to bullying. We want to stomp that out. 1 out of 4 students are bullied. We want to stomp that out. But more importantly, according to statistics, 4% of adults intervene. I'm a part of that 4%. I want to join you. I want to ask you to join me in enhancing that 4%. So in Montgomery, Alabama, it turns into 100% of adults intervening along with our students, educate them to stomp out bullying. And all we have to do is create an atmosphere of kindness and respect. Thank you.
Denise. Next, we have Tatiana Steele, who's actually a student and a member of the newly formed ROC Team Board. So if you'll come up.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Tatiana Steele, and this year I've been helping and I've been a part of the team of bullying. Last year I was bullied, and I went to Ms. Woodle, and Ms. Woodle had things that I could do to stop being bullied. And I did those things this year, and I have become one of those people that has stopped being bullied. And today I would like for all y'all to know that if you're being bullied, you should tell someone. And instead of you either going home, hurting or killing yourself, go tell someone, and they'll figure out a way to stop it. There was a girl, she jumped off the rubber cement building and she killed herself over side of the building. She didn't know what to do because she didn't tell nobody. I don't want you to be one of those people that kills yourself because you're being bullied. And so there are kind of ways that you can stop bullying. We want to stop people from killing themselves because they are being bullied. So today I just want to tell you that just tell someone. That's the key word. You have to tell someone that you're being bullied, and that you can stop being bullied by the bully who is bullying you. So thank you, and have a nice morning.
And next, if Felicia Martin, Constituency Affairs Director for the City of Montgomery, would come up. We welcome her here, and all of you partners. We've got City of Montgomery, we've got Montgomery County, we've got faith-based private schools, we've got public schools, we've got such a cross-section of our community here, and our wonderful students. Felicia?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to take this opportunity and thank this excellent committee for allowing the city to be a part. It's so critical for us as community leaders to recognize the seriousness of bullying. As I was riding over with Michael Burdell, we were just talking about experiences, and I remember as a little girl, probably 12, 13 years old, being bullied by my neighbor who was named Betty Boo. And unfortunately, back then we didn't know how to address it, so we assumed that after 3 or 4 days it would go away. Well, today, as we fast forwarded to 2013, and even in recent years, we see that bullying has escalated to a level of intensity, which means we must act with intensity. We can't sit back and allow young people to continue to suffer the tragedies that we're seeing as a result of being bullied by folks who really have no compassion for others. So as city officials, we are committed to this cause. We believe in it because it's important to the community, and we want to ensure that our young people have a safe place to live. So please know that we're proud of the endeavor that's moving forward. We're committed, and the city of Montgomery rocks. Thank you.
Now, if you would help me welcome Montgomery County's District Attorney, who not only prosecutes the bad guys and girls, but also has a heart and a commitment to prevention.
Hello! 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 I'm Ellen. I'm your district attorney. As your law enforcement speaker today, I want to tell you something that I did. We're having a lot of murders in Montgomery County, aren't we? Yeah, we read about it, we hear about it every night. Of the last 21 murder cases that I picked out of our files, convictions, the last 21 murder convictions in Montgomery County, 20 never finished school.
did not finish high school. 20. Guys, that means your chances of not getting into trouble are much greater if you do what? Finish high school. Can you even think that far? Yeah, yeah. It's a ways, but you'll make it if you stick with it. Now what that tells me is a lot of our young people who are victims of crime or perpetrators of crime are not finishing school. They're either dropping out, being suspended, or being expelled. So in Montgomery County, we wanted to do something about that. So with the help of my good friend Sandra, come on up. So this is Sandra Edwards. Sandra is the director of a program we call Helping Montgomery Families Initiative. Whew, that's a mouthful. But what we do is work with kids who have behavior problems in school. Not so serious they're going to court, and not so minor that they're going to self-correct, but the kids who need a little attention. And we work with kids who are truant, kids who are afraid to go to school sometimes because of what's going on in school. And Sandra, with her staff, work with these families and get them the services they need to help correct the behavior, change attitudes, and get the kids back in school. And we are so pleased to partner with Montgomery Public Schools and our 14 different partners that work together in Montgomery, because we can do it together. It's all about our kids, isn't it? It's about getting them in school, keeping them in school, and making sure they behave in school so they can learn. Sandra, thank you for all that you do. She's a great resource and is here to help you, teachers, administrators, and even the kids. We've had requests for help from all three. Sandra has some laryngitis today. That's why I didn't let her talk. I do. But thanks, Sandra. Now, what does bullying have to do with murder? It's real simple. Today, most kids don't wake up and say, I'm going to see if I can get in trouble. Most kids start off pushing the envelope, don't they? They push a little bit. And if we don't work with them to correct their behavior, they're going to push a little more. And eventually, they say, hey, nobody cares. Well, we're here to say something different today, aren't we? We do care. So kids who have problems have a place to go. Teachers who see problems have a place to go. And parents who need help have a place to go now. So I will offer one other suggestion. Just before I came here this morning, I was at a press conference for a special place called One Place Family Justice Center. And there we work with abused children, exploited elderly, and battered women. And we dedicated today a brand new part of our facility called the Kids Clubhouse. And come by and see it. It's really a cool place. I wanted to climb up in it, but I wasn't sure I could get back out in time to be here. But we are so excited to have more resources in Montgomery for our kids because they are what we are all about. Now, I'm selfish. I'm trying to do some crime prevention. Because if you start out bullying and if we don't stop it, you can end up in serious adult trouble down the road. So it's crime prevention for me. I don't want you to get in trouble. So I'm going to work with y'all. Now, I need your help to finish out. Can I do that? Can I count on you? I need the first three. Can y'all put your posters down and come help me? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I tell you what, I need both of you two, if you don't mind. Okay. You two take this group, all right? Come with me. I need one of you here. Come on. Come on. I need one right here. And I need one right here. Now, rock. I want this group to say rock. That's your job, to get them to say rock. Would you like to try? Go. The whole group. Raise your hands. Get them You got to get this pitiful group. I tell you what. We're going to combine. You guys come right here. Come right here. We're going to combine these two groups. And you got to get them to say, Rocky. 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 All right, now raise your hands when you're ready for them to say Rocky. Ready, set, go. Rocky. Much better. You have the hardest group because they have to remember a whole bunch of words. You got it? Tell them what you say.
In the USA.
I got a cheerleader over here. Okay, you ready? Raise your hands when you're ready. 1, 2, 3.
In the USA.
Not bad. Now we're going to move fast. Are you ready? You remember your word?
USA.
In the USA. It's hard. It's a lot of words. But we're going to say it fast and it'll start to make a little sense. All right, let's do it one time. Ready, set, go!
Rocking in the USA.
Go!
Rocking in the USA.
Go!
Rocking in the USA. In the USA. Rocking.
Rock! All right, thank you. Now, I need my good friends from Kent Law to come forward and help me in this new pledge. Do y'all know what to do? Well, do it. Oh, I get to meet with kids. Maybe I can move over here.
Being bullied is totally uncool. Not on the bus and not at school. Being kind to a place of pleasure. And respect when you know to know.
Thank you, kids. That was a great job. Great job. You know, there's a lot of potential right here. And it's very important that we as adults be watchful so that these kids can reach their full potential. So I just thank every one of you for coming out, doing your individual part to help us advance this ROC task force, and invite you once again to please, if you haven't filled out one of the partnership forms at the back, to do so, because we need the skills, talents, and abilities of every one of you. And kids, you can go back and be ambassadors for the ROC program. We've been in Pitlala Elementary School, so we know the power of Pitlala. So everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for what you bring to this effort. And go forth and prevent bullying, respect others, and create kindness.